So I just got elected honorary president pro tempore of America, together with the sisters and brothers in my fraternity. The ceremonially uh, uh, ritually inaugurated stand-in president, as you can see, acts kind of like a diploma holder or like a license holder. He's not really acting like a public servant, and he's really not. He's there to represent a certain type of person, a certain kind of political party. He represents us stereotypically as a political party, but he also represents the impossibility of holding a free and fair election until our very conservative political party is able to be heard and have our demands for legislation considered, which consists entirely of putting the right public records in the computer archives of the Republic. This is kind of a stump speech that I've been making. I told you not to vote for me for President of America. There are millions of Freemasons of the Illuminati who are also equally elected president right now, because that you elected a stereotype, schismatic, thinking that you elected a schizophrenic person, which is what the Freemasons truly, the true meaning of Freemasonry, though some are heretical and merely occupy our former lodges. I am actually running for the clerk of the town of Sleepy Hollow. I was never running for president, but when America voted for me, I have to accept on behalf of our general fraternity, of which there are many millions of us. And we will be holding watch parties downtown in every large, densely populated urban area, which needs to be eminent domained by the federal government. For instance, Wall Street or downtown Chicago, we're going to eminent domain that whole area, and we're going to be showing up and reserving our place as a conservative Republican, Christian, Democratic Republican, liberal political party. Will be reserving space in the office park of the eminent domain area downtown, for instance, in Manhattan, but also the entire city of Washington, D.C. needs to be eminent domain, because you have a lot of foreigners trying to buy our land in order to lobby our government with their interests. So we're going to be taking back all the foreign land on the East Coast. We don't necessarily have to kick out all the immigrants. We're going to be taking back all the immigrants cannot buy land in the United States of America. I'm also proposing that we eminent domain the land along the state roads between the main cities in the Northeast, so that we can grant it to rent-controlled trailer parks or developments, so that we can house the unbelievable number of homeless Anglophone people who have been totally displaced. You think that you're having a great time because the immigrants are coming on a boat to New York. Well, they're not coming on a boat. These are rich, Brahminical caste people of the old world buying the land of New York, and everybody who's homeless over here is all of the people who speak English. So I don't know what the hell you're thinking. You're getting some kind of revenge on Asia or something. The American people are homeless over here. The foreigners have land and money. So basically, we're treating the entirety of New York like it is the university. It's one big post office, New York, and we're going to be calling in the post office guard, the blue helmets. We're going to be taking back the UN. We're going to drive all of those so-called diplomats out of the UN. And we're going to set up the UN as a cell phone company and data storage bank. They don't need to do anything except set up a damn cell tower and transfer the files about the history of the nations to the people. If that doesn't keep the peace, then there is no peace to keep. We want Long Island statehood. We need to have different property laws in the city and in Long Island. We have to break up New York. These ideas are all pending the consideration, obviously, of everyone when I get through. But I think everyone's going to agree that we're going to break up New York. Sleepy Hollow Township is joining Connecticut. Connecticut's going to extend all the way to the Hudson River. I'm running for the clerk of the town of Sleepy Hollow. We're advocating a permanent impeachment proceedings against all presidents in the future for disorderly conduct. Presidents should be held to a higher standard of conduct. It is easy for them to obstruct the entire political process, even by accident. So the higher standard of conduct justifies a permanent impeachment proceeding against all presidents in the future. You have to really take the words of the president, the words of the Supreme Court, the words of the secretaries of the departments to a lesser degree because they're confirmed by Congress as sentimental expressions about a certain kind of dubiousness in the government that is impossible to verify or establish in any objective way. And this is because we don't have the orderly public records that we need in the digital age, in the electronic age. We need first and foremost registrations, voluntary registrations of publications so that I can find your publication in my town at the town hall. If you're trying to address the people of the town, you'll be able to put it on one big listing with equal time so that you don't have to go through Twitter and Google and call San Francisco to talk to the political community in your town. Then we are advocating one listing of the historical laws passed by the legislative branch and the legislative record, which includes the writings of all the doctors in the history of the United States. Doctors do not get copyright. The writings of doctors pertaining to health and safety problems, the writings of doctors in their capacity as such, is the legislative record and needs to be also put in the computer archives of the state and the federal government. But before we can do that, we need to hold a free and fair election, which means we need registrations of publications voluntarily seeking to address the whole public through the town hall and the secretary of the state. To get around the unbelievable disorder of the social media systems, Facebook and Google and Twitter that we've been using, we want the Democratic and the Republican Party to set up their own social media. It doesn't need to be anything but a list. We can use our own server banks. You can use whatever corporation you want to have a list of files that is available to the public, which is all you need to have a website. You just make one text file, put the videos as links in the text file, and you've got a website. So all you need from the Democratic Party or the Republican Party is a listing of publications of members of the party. The Grim Trumpeter is the first totally insane president in history. There have been many neurotic presidents. Insanity is not neurosis. Insanity is the fear of neurosis. If you make the current figure head nervous, he will lash out and try to make you nervous, which is a very basic instinctual response to getting nervous. The irrational behavior is the fear of neurosis. Neurosis is nothing but tiredness, exhaustion. So insanity is really the fear, the egotistical fear of neurosis, which is why the current holder of the office seem to have multiple personalities, which is in no way a disease. What you're observing is a kind of demoniacal paganism where a person occupies a public office as if he were a license holder. They try to turn the municipal office into a license holder, confer their own license, while attempting to enforce criminal justice using only a municipal government, which is something that should only be done by the state government. We want we don't want police officers to be municipal authority. Police officers should be with the state. Police guards should be with the municipal government so that the federal government can oversee the criminal prosecutions, and so that we have one criminal law for each of the 50 states, which basically comports with the criminal law of the whole nation. And these demoniacal entities are basically real estate consortiums, so we are going to advocate banning the highest rents in the suburban areas, just on the outskirts of the eminent domain area in the center of the city. So for instance, in Brooklyn, in Queens, we're going to have just maximum rents imposed by law. So these are the demands that we will be making when we head downtown to accept our election collectively as president, as a political party represented by the stereotypical character type, fictional character type of the current nominal office holder, to signify that it is obviously a vacancy and that anything that the president does should be considered entirely null and void and should really be ignored except as a sentiment that it represents. Our only demand is that We have orderly listings and orderly legislative record. We don't care how it is ordered. I have made suggestions, but they can bring any kind of order to the listings of professionals, the listings of journalists who wish, and the legislative record and the laws themselves need to be presented in an orderly fashion in the computers on the internet. Everyone can make up their own mind about our other proposals, my other proposals, when the systems are brought to some semblance of order. But right now, we as a political party will be holding watch parties downtown, anywhere, which we believe downtown areas with huge skyscraper after skyscraper need to be eminent domain by the federal government. And we will be reserving space as a political party. We're going to occupy Wall Street. We're going to occupy Washington, D.C. We're going to occupy the university campuses anywhere and everywhere that they are. Universities are inherently property. They are inherently the republic. You cannot own a university. They say they own it all day long. It is simply a demoniacal entity. It is simply a devil. It would be all the money in the world if doctors were able to copyright the health and safety and criminal history of the nation. So you can think what you want about my other policy proposals, the other policy proposals that we've been throwing around, which everyone will have their chance to say what they think about those ideas. But we need some semblance of order brought to the public record, the health and safety historical information, the laws themselves, the history of the laws passed by the legislative branch of the United States, and some kind of orderly listing of publications seeking to address the public. I don't care how they order it. We've made lots of suggestions, but some semblance of order needs to be brought to the registrations or certification citations of publications voluntarily listing themselves so that they can address the public to criticize the government or to criticize whatever dangerous practice. And this has to be done without infinite subordinations in some kind of modern, rational order with equal time given to private citizens seeking to address the public so that we can have a free and fair election and so that your office holders don't have to be treated like symbolic, figurative representations of demographic types or stereotypes so that they can be taken seriously and don't have to be treated as sentimental nullifications of their own electoral process.